This is a demonstration video for the MCF Advanced Kanban or task board. Here we see a standard type task board. We've got 4 different buckets, really 5 by status. Those can really be by any dimension. And just like in the QuickBase native Kanban, it works as you'd expect, where you can drag things and they will change to the status and change the underlying records as well. You can see that this one has colors indicating the status. Here we show that some of the cards can have, expanded views with images. You can also edit records in here. You can make assignments by changing the assigned person by clicking that image. And we also show that we can do things like splitting the screen so that you have more buckets, shrinking the size of the cards. And also, last but not least, you could do things like filter. So if I filter this on, app, there's a card that has that word in it. I can also highlight tasks. So if we type in unicorn, you can see that it's going to highlight the find unicorn task that is, yes, assigned to Homer Simpson, if you can see that. I think the other thing we could do is we can filter by columns. So you could, if you didn't want to show the acceptance column for a certain person or whatever reason, you could do that. And you can zoom in and out. You can have smaller cards and larger cards, and you can do things like open it in a new tab right from here. So that's the basic features. You can also come down, you can add a new task just by typing, so down here, and it will add that into the not started status to begin with. Another version of this, same thing, but a few more features. So you can see we can have a progress bar. We can also use the header bar as a progress and have a shade that grows as you get it done. This one shows a little different way to show the user, and that we can add menu items. So this one you can assign this way versus the pictures. You can edit and it can pop up and edit really any of the fields you have in QuickBase. You can also change the status here versus just the dragging. You can duplicate a card if you want to clone it. You can also delete cards if you don't want one. So you can do all that right from that menu. Something I didn't point out on the last one, but we can add little icons that do different things. Like if you wanted to see a due date or a chart or something, you can do those kinds of things within this Kanban environment. And also notice this in progress one is split to in progress and in testing. So especially in our world of development and app development, that's really good where you finish this and now it's in testing and somebody's going to test it. So, maybe you assign the tester. So tags and filters and searching still part of this example as well. So moving up the ladder to another example, here we show almost a Trello-like capability of having checkboxes, and this is really cool. And you see the progress bar as I check and uncheck does shade to show how far you've gotten. And it's everything else is pretty much the same. You can drag things over like you would expect. In our last and final one, we have a really customized version of this that has a lot of those features. You can see here's a task with checkboxes, different colors for this one is due 4/19, which was 2 days ago, and so it's red, it's overdue, yellow, it's due tomorrow. You can incorporate that kind of logic. We've also done this checkbox so that you can either open or close that view. And as you'd expect, you can check them off right here on the view. A couple other things. This one has this little H, and that's really cool. So you can pop up and log your hours against a task there. And if you do log those hours, logged my hours, and you save that, it saves that back to the database as well as to the task card itself. What's really cool is if we open this card up in this version, you can get a lot more data. So just like we saw the little pop-up edit form, this one you can do a full description, you can have other stuff. This one you can run a checklist library where maybe a QA checklist or something you want to do every time for that particular kind of task, and it will auto-populate the checklist for you. Here you can see the checklist view and the lined out ones that are completed. You can add a comment thread, so if you're collaborating. And here we say where I logged my hours, and I logged 2 hours. It also captures those comments in a comment thread. Last but not least, you can upload images by dragging them here or choosing files from your hard drive. And so if you need to include screenshots or specs or any kind of images or files as part of a task, you can do that. So let's close that. And that is pretty much the conclusion. We got a couple other filters, so things like filtering on a project or filtering on an individual, or even having a convenient mind filter, which I have turned on right now to only see my tasks. Here we have the same controls. This one also gives us a couple themes. So we can add theming, and that will allow us to do things like go into dark mode. All right, that concludes our advanced Gantt demonstration. There are actually more features than I've showed, but I've showed most of the ones that we find are most popular and most useful. I hope that if you have needs and you want to do Kanbans or task boards within your QuickBase environment, and the native one isn't doing the job for you, or you just want something more, give MCF Tech a call. We'd love to apply this to improve your productivity